Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gloria.
We're the Van Buskirks, and this is our story for God's glory. Well, the first part to our story is behind the scenes. It was March 2012. We had just started getting ready to, give a story to our little girl, Emma, and she was at the time just about a year and a half, and we wanted to really do something for her to, you know, raise her with, good morals, good values. I was originally raised a Catholic, not really practicing. The minute I could say "see you later, church," I did, and I just wanted to raise her right. I didn't really know what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, but I just started to get that feeling as a father. And ironically enough, right around that same time, my wife Gloria came home and said, I have something I want to share with you. Kathy Mooney would like us to go to church with her, to an event, and it happened to be uh, a big event for her, a big deal for her, and we didn't really know anything about it. So Gloria said, "Well, do you want to go?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Let's check it out." Uh, it was it was that day that I knew that um, this is what it was all about. I went in, and it happened to be here that day that they were changing the name, and it was just so incredible, the atmosphere and the excitedness and everybody here. But what blew me away was the man that got on the stage, who happened to be a friend of mine that I knew from the gym. I didn't really know that he was a pastor. I didn't know what he was about. I just knew that he could lift a lot of weight. And and what came out of his mouth was so much stronger than the weight that he could lift. What he was able to exemplify on the stage just resonated. It just connected with me at a different level. So I was immediately drawn, and I left that day wanting to go back every day, every Sunday. So we talked about it, and what was your feeling?
I was not quite as drawn to the church. I was baptized, but I was not raised religiously. My parents did not follow any faith. My sister is not baptized, but my parents did allow me to go to church. It was the Catholic church, but they allowed me to go to church with my neighbor, who was one of my best friends at the time, and whenever I wanted to, which I thought was really neat. So I felt that they allowed me to kind of choose, how I wanted to live my life, and I appreciated that. And however, I did want to, I wanted to, I wanted to, help Jason and, help him follow whatever he wanted to do. I wanted to give him the opportunity to try it out, and I believed in his faith, and I I love him, and because I loved him so much, I really really wanted to, I don't know.
Just see what it was all about.
Yeah, I was willing to try it out.
We
So
we tried it out for 3 months, and Gloria finally came to me And I forget, it was during the week at some point. It was before that next Sunday morning service, and she came to me, very upset, approached me and said, I really have something I need to talk to you about. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while now, and I don't want to go to church anymore. And I was like, well, why? It hit me like a ton of bricks. Something that I was so dear to me, that I was starting to really love and get into, and I just had the impression that she also was getting a lot out of it, and the whole time she wasn't.
It just, I felt like it was taking away from the very little time that we had to spend together. And because it wasn't as dear to me as it was to him, I was willing to give it up. But I was so afraid to tell him that, because it was so dear to him. And I was afraid that he was going to, I was afraid he was gonna leave me because I didn't want to go to church anymore. I was really afraid of that. And I actually told my parents that, and my sister that. But I had to tell him, because we tell each other everything. We're honest about everything. And I told him, and he honored that. And I felt horrible about it, that he was willing to give it up. But it showed me how much he loved me. And it just showed, I don't know, it just showed each other. I don't know, it showed each other how much we loved one another, that we were both willing to honor one another. And I don't know, that I was willing to go to church, but he was willing to give it up. And that was that. We stopped going to church.
Now we're in October of 2013. We complete our first half marathon together, and things are fine. Things are floating along just fine.
That was awesome. That was my passion. He enjoyed waiting lifts, which is how he met Pastor Derek, and I enjoyed running. So he pulled me into lifting weights, and I pulled him into running. So we started doing marathons, and that was our passion. That was something we loved to do together. So exercising was
our connection.
Was our connection.
And we started to see that, we weren't obviously losing common ground, but we didn't really have it. We had experienced the church life, or at least I did, and I felt like we were really starting to connect, and then we started to drift apart, and we used exercise as our connection, our common ground. December rolls around, December 8th actually rolls around, and we had gone on a Christmas shopping date. Extremely fun. The next Sunday, I would go for a long run, a super long run, a marathon long run type of deal. And I got home after about 2 hours, and she wasn't feeling that well. And
I remember that. I remember not feeling well. I remember saying to Jason, my stomach is killing me. It was worse than contractions. It was nothing like I'd ever felt, and I handle pain pretty well. And I said, Jay, something's not right. we called my mom, and she said, go to the hospital, I'll meet you there. So we went to the hospital, and
And here I am thinking on December 10th, actually 11th, that we're just going to go to the ER. They're going to tell her that she's fine. We'll be home by sometime in the morning. She'll be on medication and life will be resuming as normal. That's clearly not what was about to happen. This is just a quick story because there's many of them of how God was just in our life. And at the time I recognized it right away. And I leave the hospital. I give Glo a kiss. And I had actually spent a half hour laying in the bed next to her because she had asked me to. So I leave the hospital and I get across the street and I don't have my keys. I said, okay. So I get back into the hospital and retrieve my keys and make a joke with her and I leave. Everything's fine. I get down the hallway. I go to take a turn for the elevator and I hear, help, help, somebody help. I'm like, that's not coming from Gloria's room. And so, but I had stopped completely. I turned around, I thought about going back, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. I'm coming right back. So I started to walk a little bit further, and then one of the nurses that ran past me noticed me and said, Jason, it's coming from Gloria's room. Well, of course, my heart stopped. I dropped everything. I ran for the room hard. And my wife of what we were going on 4 years, we're going to be celebrating 5 next month. But my wife, 27 years old, perfectly fit, Zumba 4 times a week, just finished a half marathon, just finished the turkey trot, just so fit, so incredibly healthy, just trotting along just fine, is having a grand mal seizure in the hospital room. And if you've never experienced a loved one going through a grand mal seizure for the first time, you don't really know what to think. You have no idea of what's happening, what's going on, what are things going to be like. Everything's just racing through your head. One of the nurses grabs me quick and says, come over here to her head. She's going to want to hear your voice. I said, okay. So I ran over next to her and, I'm still dressed in my, I got my winter hat, my leather jacket. It's December, I'm going outside and I'm sweating like crazy because I'm nervous, I'm scared. And my wife's she had finished a full body convulsion. It lasted about 2 minutes. And I just get down right next to her. And I just kept telling her it was going to be okay. And that was the first time. So we transferred out of Framingham and went up to Beth Israel in Boston. We arrived there on December 14th, and I thought, gosh, this is a great place. Just everything, looking around, the instruments they had, the equipment they had, you felt like you were in outer space. And that first week, while she was in the ICU, was one of the hardest weeks of my entire life. I didn't really know what to think. I actually stayed that entire week in the hospital. I would go to my friend's house down the street to take a shower, and he would drive me back, and it was maybe 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I would have those similar conversations late at night with another one of my friends who was my leader to God and said, look, Jay, you need to pray. You need to pray hard. You need to read the Bible. You need to get your book in there and just focus on him right now, because he's going to be the only one that's going to help you through this. And it certainly wasn't ironic. And it certainly wasn't a coincidence, that relationship that I had made with Pastor Derek a year and a half prior. And it was almost as though he picked up where we left off. And he called me that first week, and I'm on the bridge in the ICU on the 6th floor, and he says, for an hour, he spoke the word of God right into me, and it was right then that I knew this was, everything was fine. Everything was fine. I had strength, I had comfort, I had peace, and here I was getting ready to embark on this journey of getting to know God on a much more personal level. I wanted to know how he was going to help me, how he was going to strengthen me, and most importantly, what he was going to be able to provide for my wife. The whole time, I'm asking questions. I'm advocating for my wife while she's unable to speak or talk or even open her eyes. I'm asking questions to the doctors. I'm doing research. I'm trying to figure out on my own what's wrong with her. But after a while of trying to do neurological research, I just grow grass for a living. I decided that hey, this is up to God. This is his plan. Well, it wasn't his plan that she was there, but he was going to use this to bring me closer to him. He was going to use this to ultimately bring us closer to him. And even though we had our differences, maybe a year and a half prior about church, I knew that this instance here, he was going to help heal her, both spiritually and physically. And what I saw before my eyes was just so incredible. Things started to change in me. Things started to change in her for the physical, for the better. And I knew that he had his hand in it. I knew the whole time. And I would go home every night and pray hard. And I started coming back to church by myself. It was my place of comfort, but it was, it's God's house. And I knew that being here to honor him and to celebrate him was helping me ultimately and helping our family ultimately. Because he wants glory. And that's all I wanted to do, was glorify him through the whole process. So things started to really, really improve when we were so uncertain for so long, and at the time we still were, but things really started to change for the better. Gloria opened her eyes.
The first thing I remember is looking up and seeing Jason, my parents, my sister, and a lot of doctors standing around me, and just a bright light. And I just can't even explain it. It's incredible what I experienced. That's just the first thing I remember. And I believe that was God connecting with me and just speaking to me and just telling me that it was gonna be okay, and letting me know that I was gonna go home And to this day, I'm still figuring things out. I love coming to church every Sunday. We look forward to it. We pray. My family, my parents and my sister, they don't go to church. They don't practice. And I'm okay with that. And they're okay with me coming to church. But this is what I need to help us through this. This is what has got us through this insane, I don't even know, just insane thing.
Early on in her rehab stay, she was consistently frustrated and would often ask, why me? Why did this happen?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I wanted it to be for a reason. I believe that God did this for a reason. I don't think this happened by accident. I think that God did this for a reason.
Well, he uses this. He didn't do this.
He's using it for a reason, that it's to help others, that, to help other people know that they're not alone. And one of the hardest things, though, is my children. That I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they've had a really hard time with this. And that's been the hardest thing with me and with them. And 1 week my 4-year-old loves me, or not loves me, but really wants to hang with me, and the next week she doesn't, and the next week my 2-year-old wants to, and that's been the hardest thing. And so I just pray. I pray, and I know that God is gonna help us get through it. I know it's not gonna be easy. We still have a lot to go through, and but I know that God is here to help us. I know that He is here, and I just hope that what I've gone through and what we've gone through as a family is being used to help others, and I hope that it does so.
Tell you what, in the last 11 months, I learned that life is way more unpredictable than you could ever imagine it to be. I was living the perfect dream. Golf course superintendent, wife, 2 kids, house, dog. We were marching along. And then we have a horrible medical situation thrown into the mix. We didn't crumble. And you don't have to crumble either. God's there to pick you up. He's there to hold you. He's there to keep you warm. He's there to keep you strong. He's there to give you wisdom and confidence when you don't think you have anything at all in you. There were plenty of moments that I didn't feel like I even had the words to ask or what to say. Even when my own wife or kids would ask me why, I didn't know why either. And God was there to provide those for me. And He's there for you too. He's there to provide that every time. You just have to ask Him. You just have to know Him. You just have to talk to Him and listen. Listen really carefully, because most of the time it's not audible. But He's there. The message is real clear.